Welcome back. You're listening to Ask the CIO, sponsored by Swish Data and Checkpoint Software Technologies on Federal News Network. I'm your host, Jason Miller. My guests today are Bill Vita, the Interior Department's Chief Information Officer, and Jack Donnelly, the Interior Department's Chief Information Security Officer. Before break, we started to talk about what it takes to secure cloud services. Bill brought up this idea of workforce, and I definitely want to go back to that. But let me bring Jack into this conversation a little deeper. We've heard a lot about the trusted internet connection. We've heard a lot about the frustration with TIC. Where does TIC 3.0 fit into your plans? And then also, we'll talk more broadly about some other ways you guys are ensuring the security of cloud services. Jack, start with TIC 3.0.
Okay, TIC 3.0 is the next iteration of TIC 2.1, 2, 3, whatever iteration that you have there. But I think what you're seeing there is an evolution of requirements because of the various pushback and input and feedback provided by various departments and agencies that are out there. And basically what's going on is that those costs of providing that security and transporting that data through Homeland Security solutions and Homeland Security standards was prohibitive. But it was something that we as a nation and as part of a large department, we had to do. But as time developed and the cloud services came into development and those offerings started to come through FedRAMP, the FedRAMP standards, and being able to have certified solutions that we knew and where we understood the requirements was advantageous to the department. And what does that mean? It's the NIST 853 controls being mapped to FedRAMP requirements, and then the additional security requirements that are specific to the Department of Interior, whether it's a vendor solution for communication on virtually, or it's providing infrastructure or providing any type of application service. The idea is can you guarantee the security controls? Do you understand what they are? Do you understand the on-premise current solution and what the difference between that solution and the cloud service provider and the cloud service solution is going to be? Once you get through that process, you could either make a determination that you have a one-for-one security solution that meets all your requirements, or there's a shortfall and investment needs to come later, or it's something that you need to work on into the future. In terms of cloud implementation, it's been an evolving security plan. And in TIC 3.0, in particular, there's some interesting features there. And what it basically says is, look, you don't have to follow all the requirements that Homeland Security puts forward. What we'd like to do is have some very high-level requirements and use cases, and we'd like to see that implementation, not necessarily done by you, but you pick what you want to do, on-premise, off-premise, onto the cloud. And what we envision in the future, and there'll probably be a TIC 4.0 in the recent future, is that you could see where TIC will be a solution in the cloud that's provided by every solution provider. It's just a menu selection. You turn around saying, hey, look, I want these security features that are in alignment with TIC 3.0. It's part of the selection process. I don't want to do it any longer from a department on-premise perspective, but I'd like to go to you, and I don't have to centralize that investment. It's wherever I happen to be making my cloud product selection or service selection or infrastructure selection, and the TIC 4, 3, or 2.0 will align to the requirements put forward by Homeland Security and by the federal government.
Interesting. You talk about the future of the drop-down menu. I want this or I want that part based on your risk decision making. Have you guys gotten in line yet? Have you raised your hand to DHS to say we want to be part of those use cases? We want to pilot one of the use cases. Has that happened yet?
Yes. There are a number of departments and agencies that I can't speak to, but we're one of the organizations that have volunteered to be one of the key piloting programs. There have been smaller departments and agencies that have volunteered and went through alert early 3.0 implementation. We want to be one of the first departments, if we're able, to do a department-wide deployment with 3.0, but we're still trying to figure out what those requirements are. One of the challenges from a departmental perspective is the investment we're going to make in alignment with the requirements that are coming in the future, and that hasn't been defined in 3.0. In fact, if you read the 3.0 standards, it says you can do this or that, and the requirements aren't very mappable to things that we could clearly identify, saying we met all the requirements, and therefore the IT investment and the security investment has been safe. We're looking for a little bit more clarity, but I think one of the major benefits of being a lead department agency with a 3.0 implementation is we get to drive requirements into the future, and that's the key aspect of it. And one of the key things from a security perspective is this: can we have all the data and analytics, cyber threat analytics in the cloud? Is that secure? What else do we turn around and need? How do we interact with data in the cloud and data on premise? And how do we create a single security solution that makes sense? In addition, how many transitions do we have to make? As we go from one TIC solution to the next, that presents a level of risk for us, right? Every time we have to transition to a new solution, we got to figure out a transition and a cost to do so. And that solution is going to look a little bit different each and every time until we have a near 100% cloud solution from a security perspective. So that's the road that we're headed down to. But I think the major push is the department wants to exert its influence, and it wants to shape what the TIC implementation should be. And that's what we'd like to see, is vendors build a TIC solution for us to turn around and select. Whether it's one cloud vendor or another, right now those security solutions are not agnostic, right? You pick one and you're stuck with that vendor solution, but that can't be the way in the future.
Two questions come up. Let me do the easy one first, maybe. When the coronavirus pandemic hit, DHS had kind of pushed out some telework guidance around TIC 3.0. Did you guys look into that? Were you able to use it much, or did it come, I don't want to say late, but it just didn't fit into your needs at the moment?
Bill, I defer to you to start then if you want to hand it back.
Yeah. Well, I think first off, all the guidance that we received from everybody was valuable. Brought different perspectives to our thinking and helped us frame the issues that we were locally facing within our department. So we're grateful that they were able to push out guidance. We understand the constraints of speaking to a broad audience, and so we knew we'd be tailoring it with our own lessons learned and requirements, but I know it was helpful. But it's important to remember, in an organization like ours, it's a very challenging environment. Most CIOs, I think, have a critical requirement to, of course, protect all the high value assets and worry about the cybersecurity of their operations. But the Department of Interior is such a broad mandate. We support all the national parks. We support all of the Indian education systems. We support so many things that are customer facing and public facing, that making sure that we have telework guidance that allows us to maintain those priorities when the world was changing around our customers, right? Keeping that updated on the fly wasn't something we expected DHS to be able to support in the long term. We knew that we would have to take whatever we were handed and make sure that we adopted it to the contingency as it was unrolling. So it was another good input to the start of the process. We got great support from Suzette Kent and the Federal CIO's office. A lot of things that we needed to push through with urgency, she was always there for us, and she made sure we could get them done in the most expedited way possible. So we're very grateful for that. It wasn't a single organization. It was a lot of great leaders getting us the stuff we needed to get the job done.
The other side of this question as well, maybe bring Jack back into it, is the award Interior made for Enterprise Infrastructure Solutions, the EIS program. That tends to come with a lot of cybersecurity. It comes to come with the modernization efforts. Can maybe Jack just talk briefly about how EIS, or kind of that broader perspective, is being, how you're addressing the cyber challenges of cloud, of network modernization through a contract, whether it's EIS or just another approach beyond TIC?
EIS and that transition to what we had to where we needed to be is an opportunity for our department. right? The main benefit was we didn't have to stay with legacy solutions, and enabled us to put as part of the planning process and modernization process, where are we going from an on-premise transit infrastructure where our entire enterprise is on-premise, and what will we do in the future? And the EIS contract provided an opportunity and an injection point for us to find a new solution. With new solutions, we could put new requirements in place. So the EIS contract has been an enabler for the department, allowing it to move along to its cloud migration faster than it was before. Because normally what we would have is a contractual change, something that we would have to generate internally. And in fact, we had someone else, another department agency, work the opportunity for us, do the majority of the heavy lifting, which the department appreciates greatly, and said, hey, look, use this opportunity to enable IT modernization. Tell us what your networks look like now. Tell us where we need to be. And so from a high level perspective, I could tell you where we're going to be from a security and network infrastructure perspective. You know, the first thing is how do we transfer on-premise to off-premise? And what does that look like first? And how much of a hybrid environment are we going to have? So the idea is what do we need to do next after that? Because we know that transit core networks, we're not in the business and we don't want to do that on-premise anymore. A lot of telecom companies and cloud service providers could provide infrastructure as a service. And our next step is what type of security features and network features do we want in terms of stacks in the cloud that are operating virtually? So it looks like we have a transit core network and gateway and metro networks, but we're not operating any of it. We just put on the requirements and we say, look, security, network services, all the things that we love about having our own on-premise networks, we have those services. We don't see anything impeding us in being able to provide these services to our IT user community, but we're not doing it hands-on ourselves anymore. It's a service provider that does that for us now.
Bill, I want to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to have the conversation about the workforce, because I think that's another big part of this. As you said, this is less of a technology problem and more of a workforce training problem, or challenge, I should say. So let's take a quick break. I'm Jason Miller, and you're listening to Ask the CIO, sponsored by Swish Data and Checkpoint Software Technologies on Federal News Network.